Blog Talk Radio. Another episode of Endie Fiya right here with your girl, Nakia. How you guys been? I feel like, you know what, I want to share something very quickly with you. I'm not going to talk too long tonight because I definitely want you guys to be introduced to my guest for this evening. But let me tell you, I know a lot of you have been, unemployed. You've been, your hours have been cut. During this time, you have discovered so many gifts and so many crafts that you never knew that you had. A lot of you have started businesses. You got your own side hustle going on right now or whatever it may be. But I have worked this entire pandemic, and I know we talk about this a lot on social media. I never let it die down. Like, I am in so need of a vacation right now. It makes no sense. And something that I always like to reiterate around the show is that, when you have something that you're passionate about and, you are doing it to its fullest, I feel like people are truly walking in their purpose when they have found something that they love and they share it with everyone. And that's how I feel about Endie Fiya. My job has not allowed me to fulfill my passion the way that I'm used to fulfilling my passion. And so that is one thing that is just like, it's eating me up. I mean, it really is eating me up. We had no shows last week at all. And guys, we are here, 5 times a week? Yeah, three shows, and the 2 shows Monday. Yeah, so 3 shows on Monday, then Tuesday and Thursday. And we had only 1 show last Monday, and that was Caso's show. And so, I have to figure out what it is that I need to do after working 9 hours a day and doing what I do, find a way to get back into the groove of doing what I do that I love so much, that I, am so passionate about, because it's very, I'm telling you, it is so depressing when you're trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're trying to motivate and encourage and empower other people on a daily basis, then you can't find that same motivation yourself to do the things that you love to do. So, in talking with some people over the past couple of days, I figured it out. We have to either cut back on the job or we have got to, my time management has got to be so much better. I'm running 3 businesses right now and working and doing the show. All right. I got a lot going on. But this right here, you guys know this is my baby. And I just feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not walking in my purpose because I'm not fulfilling my passion because I'm not here with you guys. So we're going to work on that. I promise. For the month of September, August is almost over. But for the month of September, we are definitely going to get back on the ball. We're going to be back here 3 nights a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We have the double show on Monday night and then the show on Monday morning. So all of that, we're doing all of that for the month of September. I am speaking it into existence. All right? So I know there's a lot that we could talk about, but I don't really have a lot to talk about because I haven't had time to catch up on all of the news and, what's been going on in the world. And I don't really know. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into this interview and speak with our guest this evening. I'm super excited to have him here this evening. I'm super excited to have any guest here. But I am very excited to have our guest with us this evening. I think he should have listed comedian in his, descriptions of, what he does and but he didn't. Listen to the bio, and if you get a chance to read the book that we're going to discuss this evening, you will see why I'm saying he should have listed comedian. All right? I'm talking about author and songwriter Robert Boog. He is an amateur songwriter who lives in Los Angeles. He cannot play a musical instrument, nor does he sing very well. Not to brag, but my wife, or his wife, claims that he sings. He sounds like a drunk Bob Dylan, insisting he is still okay to drive. Y'all see where the comedy's coming in now? All right? Despite his apparent lack of singing ability and technical musical knowledge, Boog's songs have been downloaded over 30,000 times. Most recently, he was a top 10 finalist for Django's Radio 100 or Top 100 Holiday Song Contest with the tune Not Yet Christmas. His songs can be found on Spotify, iTunes, and at www.reverbnation.com/BOOG4. His song Sticky has been played in Atlanta nightclubs due to the help of lead singer Reverend 516, who hails from Detroit, and Robert's latest release, Kobe, features Kid Dreams from Illinois. Hang Shakespeare is a nonfiction book that has been described as fun to read and a historical who-dunnit, where Robert argues that William Shakespeare of Stratford upon Avon is not the true author of the poems and plays of Shakespeare. It boasts serious facts and powerful proof, as well as common sense logic and a sense of humor about things. Yeah, I bet some of you just went, what? William Shakespeare didn't do what? I know you did. We're going to discuss it right now. Endie Fiya listening audience, I present to you this evening my very, very special guest, author and songwriter Robert Boog.
Hey, thanks, Nakia. Hey, thanks for the intro, Nakia.
Hey! You are so
Can you hear me? Okay.
welcome. Am I saying it? Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to just jump right in this. I'm so curious about your music, especially because, you state that you can't play the musical instrument, and, what your wife said about you sounding like the drunk Bob Dylan, but your music seems to be doing so very well. So I definitely want to talk about that. We're going to play 2 tracks this evening, Quarantine and Kobe, but I'm also curious about this book, Hang Shakespeare. All right? Why? Why are we hanging Shakespeare?
Okay. The reason that we're hanging him is because it says in this poem. Oh, let me just rewind for a second. Christmas Day of 2019, my wife and I were watching a documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's called Nothing is Truer Than Truth. And actually, my wife is Hispanic, and so we celebrate Christmas by opening presents at midnight. And you so the following day, Christmas Day, is kind of like you feel like you're hungover, but you just need sleep kind of day. And so she said, find a documentary that we can both take a nap to, basically. So I found this documentary, and I thought I was just going to fall asleep. I had no clue about Shakespeare or anything. And I put it on, and it's kind of like a light bulb went off in my head. And about a month later, my son, we were having dinner for my son's birthday, and I started going on and on about this movie we'd seen. And I discovered that my wife was not all that, on the same wavelength. She hated the movie because she thought that it was snobbish, that it implied like someone of color could not write as well as like a white person. I mean, she was fired up about it. And so then after she went to sleep, I went back for some reason, I went online and I just looked at this, it's called The First Folio. There's a poem there called To the Reader. And in it, Ben Jonson, he just has this poem. And the whole movie was about this guy, Edward de Vere, and it takes you on this boat ride to Italy where this guy who they say was Shakespeare took a boat, took a vacation for a year and a half during the time of the pandemic or the plague back then. So, like I said, it's kind of like when around or looked up this poem, I suddenly saw his name there in that poem. So I underlined it, and the next day I thought maybe this is crazy. I told my wife, and she said that I cheated, that I'd used the W for a V.
Right, I read that. Yeah.
Yeah, she did not. She does not give me any slack. So I looked at the poem again, and then I saw the words "hang" in it too. It's kind of like it was letters capitalized kind of thing. And I'm kind of like, I like to play around with words, so that's where I get into songwriting, and I play Sudoku and things like that. So I like to play around with words a little bit. And when I saw that, then I saw that it said "hang Shakespeare" in this poem. And so I got all passionate about, maybe there's, something to this. Why would he have this, in this? Because the guy that wrote the poem was supposed to be Shakespeare's best friend. And he wrote this poem in 1623, and Shakespeare died in 1616. And the other guy, the De Vere guy, died in 1604. Kind of like, why would he do this? So it's kind of like that's where the who-dunnit started in my head. Like, why would, what is all this? So I'm talking about, January 27th, 2020. And maybe starting just to write, I emailed a couple of these Shakespeare experts on this, and I didn't get any email back. So then I thought, okay, well, there was this book that is called like Shakespeare Bites Back. It's like a 40-page free download, and it says basically, nobody doubts that Shakespeare wrote the plays and sonnets because nobody's ever doubted this before. And then I thought, that's not really a reason. I mean, that's kind of a cop-out. So then I thought, why can't we doubt it? I mean, why couldn't a black person, or why couldn't anybody, write? Why, it just didn't make sense. So anyway, so that started me on my little quest, and so that's what I did. I just I wrote this thing out. It's not really to make money or anything, but it's just to satisfy my own my own curiosity, I guess.
All right, so I didn't get very far in the book, not because I didn't want to read it, because I just didn't have time to read it. But I know that it starts out, you pretty much just went through the entire introduction, minus the fact that your wife is like a microwave, and she can, what did you say, when she gets to 10 or...
she's got a microwave-like temper. I mean, you push the button 10 and her blood is boiling, It's
Yes. I thought, I can relate. I can relate.
Yeah, well, I'm currently doing like an audio book on it, Audible, and I'm just about done. So that's what I need. Coming out. Yeah, and so people tell me that when they read the book, it sounds like I'm talking, and so I thought, okay, well maybe it'd make more sense if I just wrote this thing. It's just hard to visualize some of these things that I'm pointing out, but you could always look that in a book or something.
Yeah, I agree. From what I did get a chance to read, it wasn't like your typical book where you read and you obtain knowledge. I mean, granted, I did obtain knowledge, but it was more conversational. The fact that you have an author who tells you that the poetry sucked. It's sucky poetry. It's like you're sitting here telling me, that's how bad the writing is. And so it's very, very relatable, again, from where I was able to read, too. But I know when Chapter 1 starts, it talks about why question the authorship of Shakespeare. And besides the breakdown, because when I saw the breakdown, when I saw like the cover, I thought, oh, yeah, I get it. I see it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But when you actually do the breakdown of the letters and how they're placed, the diagonal, it goes up to Shakespeare, hang, and it goes right up, like you're pointing right at Shakespeare. But why even question? And I know you just stated that, I'm writing this for my own, and there may be people who are questioning that too. I just remember reading Shakespeare like in high school and the beginning of college, and just always thought like, some of this stuff is really goofy. Some of this I can't get into. Some of this makes a lot of sense. Some of this I need Shakespeare for dummies to be able to decipher what he's saying. But I never really questioned, like, if what he was writing, he wrote it. So why question the authorship of Shakespeare?
I'm totally with you. I that's how I was on, prior to, December 25th, 2019. I was the same thing. I was like, just going, just like you. I never thought to question it. And in this documentary, it was like going on this little boat ride. You see, you're in Venice, for example, and you know that there's a play called The Merchant of Venice. And then they show you,
right.
So there's a grove of sycamore trees in the play Romeo and Juliet. Now, I didn't do this. The lady that made the documentary pointed it out. So why would, and it's kind of like she says, and she deserves the credit. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm adding my original spin on what she kind of said. So what she said is like in the play Romeo and Juliet, he talks about a grove of sycamores that is west of the city. And so there she is. She's in this boat. She like pans the camera to the left, and there's the grove of sycamore trees that are still alive, today. So you can see it with your own eyes. And then in, I don't know, I think it's in another play called As You Like It, he talks about the 7 stages of man. And she goes to this one cathedral that's also like in Venice, and there on the floor is this mosaic, and it says the 7 stages of man. It's just, so the thing is that why did this guy in 1575, when he was like 25 years old, he was married, yet he doesn't bring his wife. He goes to Italy and stays there for a year and a half. And the question to me, when I was watching that documentary, she didn't explain that part. Like, why did he go there? I mean, why would you go to Italy, for example, today in the year 2020 with COVID-19? He had to get a special permit to leave England, right, to go to Italy then, because they had the plague and they didn't want to bring the plague back to England.
Right.
So he had to get special permission. So he gets this, and then he goes there. And I was wondering to myself, and that's the kind of person I am. I'm like, you got to tell me the obvious things. Give me the reason why he did this. It didn't make sense to me. And so I had to figure that out. And that's what, okay, so in one of the chapters, what I figured is that we kind of take for granted like a lot of stuff, like scientifically. But in 1543, there was a guy named Copernicus who believed that traveled in a circle around the sun, and it rotated, 24 hours. Well, this was a huge, huge thing back then. I mean, the church had banned that book, and so this guy Edward de Vere was, he was basically a genius. He was super smart. He decided that he needed to go to Bologna, Italy, because that's where Copernicus taught. And I think that's the reason why he went there, because he couldn't talk to anybody about this new theory. And actually, Copernicus's idea was not accepted until the year 1822. So you're talking about 1575 going there. And then what I think he wanted to do was insert it into his plays. So put in some of these ideas that he was kind of like this like genius guy that was against religion and against holding people back. So he's kind of like he's a Renaissance hero kind of. I mean, he's an incredibly smart guy. I mean, it's weird, but okay. So that's what I did. I started investigating him, kind of like figuring out who this guy was, and the more I found out, or it just kind of fell into place that this guy makes more sense to be the real writer of these plays than this businessman from Stratford who everybody believes wrote the plays, William Shakespeare. So it's kind of like, I don't know, to me it makes it more interesting because like the real guy that I'm talking about, Edward de Vere, he stabbed a guy and he died when he was 16 years old. And they claimed that this chef committed suicide. So this guy, I mean, he murdered someone. So in the plays, Macbeth, when Macbeth murders, I think Duncan or, Lady Macduff or whatever, you know how he talks about being racked with guilt. And I mean, I think these kinds of feelings he knows about and he expresses them. And to me, that's interesting because then you get more involved. And then when you see these productions like of Othello, because he believed that his wife was cheating on him while he was gone for a year and a half because his wife gave birth to a daughter. So the play Othello has a lot of jealousy, involved in it. There's let's see, his father died mysteriously and his mother remarried. So it's kind of like talking about Hamlet. He cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you have all of these incidents, but the scholars of Shakespeare say, oh no, that's just a coincidence. It can't. But when you keep adding up all these coincidences, then you realize I think this guy was the real author, and he's kind of like forgotten or something,
I know that you mentioned earlier that you reached out during your research. You reached out to several people, and you didn't get much of a response. But while doing your research, anyone that you were able to reach out to, or anyone who was aware of what you were, trying to talk about, did you catch any slack from these people, who thought, wait a minute, why is he trying to debunk the fact that Shakespeare wrote these plays? Was there anyone out there just, throwing negative vibes at you, or were they just curious to see what information you were able to find out and how this is all going to unfold in your book? Which way did it go for you?
It went kind of like it was kind of weird because I didn't realize that there's already like these two camps that are like firmly entrenched. The Stratford camp is for William Shakespeare. I call him Stratford because William Shakespeare, the guy that we think is the real author. Well, Stratford upon Avon is like 100 miles away from London. And so during his lifetime, guess how many letters Shakespeare wrote to his wife being 100 miles away? How many would you guess?
Well, I would guess a huge number, but I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, the answer is 0. They have 0 letters. Yeah. And how many did she send to him? The same thing, 0. So there's like no evidence. And you would think he rebuilt this Globe Theater in Stratford. So there's no evidence that he went to grammar school. There's no evidence. I don't want to pile it on him, but okay. So, but there's a lot of money in Stratford. It's kind of like saying Walt Disney didn't make Disney World or something, that there's like a $6 million economy that these people make T-shirts, they sell, souvenir items. There are tours of and Hathaway's house, or well, this is the house where Shakespeare peed, or just different things like that. And so I think that's a big thing, that they want to keep the thing going. It's been going for over 400 years. So why would anyone doubt? And that's the first thing they say. Why would anyone doubt this? Well, we doubt that breakfast is the best meal or the most important meal of the day. So of course it's just human nature to doubt things, I think. But anyway, so that's one in camp, and they call me names and all kinds of stuff. That so you have to be like a like a duck that gets water on its back. You just what's new. The other camp, the Oxford camp, they are kind of snobbish. They believe in this the 17th Earl of Oxford, and I agree with them, but I do think that they are a little too snobbish. So I'm kind of like they're not really on. I've been kicked out of their team basically because I think that they're too snobbish. So I'm kind of like the middle person, and all I'm saying is that I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who watched a movie, who, when I was a kid, I got this is a true story. Okay, when I was a kid, like in first grade, I attended a Catholic school, and so one day I raised my hand, and the nun, like Sister Elizabeth, said, Robert, what is your question? And I said, why did God invent men twice? And she said, what did you say? And I said, yeah, in the Bible it says that on the fifth or sixth day he invented man, and then everything was good, and then in chapter 2 or book 2, then he creates Adam and Eve. Why did he do it twice? And then she said, you're going to have to see the Mother Superior. And so I'm the kind of guy that points out the obvious. So that to me seemed like an obvious thing. Or another one, the Wizard of Oz. When I was a kid, that was a big thing, watching this movie. We didn't have a color TV, and my grandmother did. So we went to my grandmother's house and we watched it, and like half the way through it turned into color, and then after the movie I said, oh man, that movie sucked. My brother said, what do you mean? That was the best movie I've ever seen in my life, kind of thing. And I'm going, yeah, but and here's the thing, my sisters were scared of the Wicked Witch of the West, but not me. What scared me were the flying monkeys. They had like these purple capes, and I don't know, they just scared me. And then I was thinking to myself, why, if you were the Wicked Witch of the West, why would you leave a pot full of water with one of those scary monkeys? They could just fly down and grab it and douse you, So when I told that to my brother, he said, oh man, you just ruined that movie for me. So it just seemed, like an obvious kind of thing. So that's all I do. When I see, like, okay, so I saw this poem, and then I saw the guy's name in it, then I saw Hang Shakespeare, and then I just point out the obvious, really. So what I try to do is get, I'm kind of like a cheerleader for other people to, hey, you got to look at this, and tell me what you think. I mean, doesn't this make sense that this guy should be, given credit as the author at least, or something? Because another thing, when I was a kid, I was born in Minnesota, and then we moved to California when I was 8 years old, and my dad was promised a job, and when he got here, the job was no longer there. I guess the guy was injured, and then he got better. So we have I come from a big family. I have, 8 brothers and sisters. So I'm the middle child. I have 4 above me and 4 younger. So we would move, and, just yeah, just imagine like renting to a family of 9 kids, and so I would be the neighbor kid usually. Like my dad would have like bunk beds, like he would rent a 3-bedroom place, and my sisters would be in one room and me and my brothers would be in another. But sometimes the landlord would do a check, and so I would be like the neighbor kid who walked in and would tell the landlord, oh no, there's only 3 people that live here or something. So I've been making stories up since I was a little kid, really. But and having moved around like that, I was accused of plagiarizing a couple of times, and it was just I like to write, I like to read, and stuff like that. So I was kind of like the kid that sat in the corner and read a book. And when we moved to a different school, or this happened to me twice. One time, the teacher said, "Oh yeah, you didn't write this," and it was during the class time. I mean, there's no other time to where could I just grab this story out of? So I had to go to the principal's office. First, they called my mother in, then the principal. Then they decided I needed to write a new version or write something different the next day at the principal's office. So I did that, and I think I was in 4th grade. And after that, the principal had me take a class in the 6th grade class. So I took, I would have to, walk to 6th grade English every day. And that was the kind of thing that I did. Well, then it got me to thinking that when I was, also I went to school at UCLA, and at UCLA they had English 10A class. And this class is huge. It had, there's like 600 people in it. And the instructor said, if you can write a sonnet like William Shakespeare, you will get an A on your midterm. And I thought, oh man, that sounds easy. I'm going to do that, So I tried to write, and I did write a sonnet for it, but man, that was hard. It was extremely hard. And I remembered how hard that was when I, started reading this, doing this stuff, research about Shakespeare and stuff. So bottom line is I got to know about plagiarism and what teachers do, what the way that they suspect that you're a plagiarist is that if something is different than what you've normally done in the past. So and what they do is they'll have you go to go to the principal's office and write another story there. Well, in Shakespeare's Shakespeare's case, if you think about it, after 1604, when De Vere dies, then Shakespeare writes these epitaphs. He's writing, on people's tombstones, these poems. And they're kind of like 90s rap, kind of like they have kind of, I actually like 90s rap, by the way, but it's, the beat is really hard and stuff. So, anyway, so that's just, my take on it is that he got out of writing this free verse and kind of like blank verse kind of thing into writing rap music or something. Why would it just sounds like 2 different people? And that's, to me, when we're talking about, writing songs or writing anything, then you kind of hear it. And that's what, to me, I'm hearing like a different person, or I don't know. That's just me.
Now, in reading, and I think I know just a little bit about where you're talking about in the intro, I think it was, reading the epitaphs and how they sounded like some 19 or some 1600 gibberish to me, and then turning the page and actually hearing or reading, but you mentioned that it sounded like, gangster rap. So I'm trying to read it in that, so that I can make it, sound gangster. And you can tell the difference, like in the writing. You can tell the difference, like 2 people. That's not the same style. That's not there has to be a second person that wrote that. So I get it. I get right there where you're talking about. For you, what was my goodness, what was one of the most surprising discoveries for you in creating this book? I'm sure there was a lot of surprises.
The thing, here's the thing. When I got to reading about De Vere, he's like this really bizarre dude. I mean, either he was like really gay before, gay was cool kind of thing. I mean, he was flamboyant is, I guess, the best word to describe it. And
okay.
I think, and that's what I talk about in this book, is I think he was bipolar. And I don't think that they knew how to deal with him. So in my mind, he's the way that you, to me, the mental health issues of him, which a lot of times the authors who don't like De Vere will point to, they'll say that he abandoned his wife and he was mean to her and he did this. He had these wild mood swings. And yet when, I guess, James Shapiro is like a famous Shakespeare author, he writes that in 1599, William Shakespeare wrote 4 plays in 1 year. Now, at first I thought that was just crazy talk, but then I got to thinking about it, and bipolar people have these incredible highs and incredible lows. And if he wrote, 4 plays in a year, that's possible if he was bipolar. So it kind of matches when they're talking about Edward de Vere having like a mental illness, like, bipolar disorder. And back then there was no real treatment for it or anything.
Right.
Or no medicine. So he goes from the highest of highs, like, can I compare thee to a summer's day in the sonnets? And then he has, like, he talks about depression in, like, I'm going to say at least 22 sonnets. He talks about depression, death he talks about, time he talks about in a sonnet. So you really get the real author's personality in the sonnets. And when you compare that to Edward de Vere, that to me is like the smoking gun. That's the, what I kind of figured out is that this person here and this person here seem to me to be the same, person. Also, if you think about it, most people would leave their day jobs, like you were talking about in your intro. I would leave my 9 to 5 to just do art, right?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't. Now, here's what Shakespeare does, or the real Shakespeare guy. He get this. Okay, he was writing the greatest plays in the world, right? And then in 1609, he quits that to do 3 things. He sells malt and grain, and he writes these, bad epitaphs, and he is a money lender. He loans money. So that's his true passion. It was like and that's the thing that I don't get. I mean, why would you stop writing? I mean, to me, in real estate, I work in real estate. So there's a saying in real estate that goes, you don't get into real estate gets into you. And the same thing is true if doing broadcasting, if that's your passion, it doesn't matter that you work 9 hours. You're going to get up and you're going to still do it for another 45 minutes or whatever, just because it's something in your blood. You know what I mean? And it's not something that you put away. It's like it's there. It's the fire. It's the thing that wakes you up and keeps you doing what you love. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me that this person that we've, adulated for all these years, this guy to me seems like he ripped off this other guy. and got away with it, and nobody's, paying attention or something.
Wow. Guys, it really makes you, think. And you were describing yourself as a child, and it seems that not a lot has changed. As an adult, you still kind of think the same way, but, on an adult level. I have a 14-year-old who'll be 15 next week, and he's the same way. We'll be discussing very important, worldly news or whatever, and he will just say something so off the wall that you have to sit and actually think. First of all, how did you even come up with this? You seem like you're so much knowledgeable than, your years, but how did you even come up with this? And then you have to sit and rationalize what he just said and realize that, oh, my gosh, but that makes so much sense. And so I got a little picture of how he will be as an adult because it hasn't stopped. Like, his mind is always bringing new things forth. He's always expanding upon different ideas and making sure that everyone knows that, this is how it should be and not this right here. And there's nothing wrong with questioning, anything, especially if you don't believe or if you have doubts. There's nothing wrong with questioning. But he questions everything, and then he has his own ideology, his own theories as to why what you just said is wrong and what I'm telling you is right. And you actually, as an adult, you have to sit and think and go, oh, my goodness. Yeah, yeah. Like, that is, like, if they took that perspective and they did it that way, like, wow, like, how did you come up with that? And I have no idea what these, how his thought process flows. I don't know. But to actually see someone who says, they were that way and now the same way, I got a little, glance into how he's going to be as an adult. Super excited.
That sounds great.
I would love to continue discussing the book, but now I want to get into the musical side of you. For someone who their bio starts out that they don't play a musical instrument and says that they do not sing very well, yet they have all of these downloads and streams on different platforms. You know what I'm saying? You have music that has been played in clubs in Atlanta, and even if your name is attached to the other individual on the track's name, that I'm sure it's been played in other places as well. So how did that all come about for someone who really doesn't sing very well? How did you say, I'm going to put out my first track, I'm going to write this song and hope it does well, and, where did that come from?
Okay, well, like I said, I work in real estate, and one of the harder parts of real estate, or the thing they don't tell you, is it's called prospecting. You got to do it every day. And I've been in real estate for a while, so after like 15 years of real estate, you get tired of doing it, because if you ask people, hey, you want to sell a house, your house, or you want to buy a home, they'll say, most people say no, or yeah, maybe, or someday, or that kind of thing. So, but you got to keep doing it. You got to keep looking for that rejection, because you ask 100 people, one person might say yes. So you got to keep doing it. And I'd kind of gotten out of that groove, and then my wife made the comment. She said, like, what do I have to do? Put a gun to your head to make you prospect for half an hour like that? And then I thought, that's it. That is it. It was like an aha moment. I get it, And then she said, what? And then I said, thank you. And then I left, and I drove to Walmart, and I bought a timer. And, I mean, now I have, you have your iPhone, you can time something on. But I got to thinking, right. Like, if somebody actually did put a gun to my head, I would want to prospect for 28 minutes. I mean, I would want to know the time. I wouldn't want to prospect for 28 minutes and 35 seconds or something, or I'd die. So I would need to know the exact time. And so I would pretend like somebody's got a gun to my head, and I've got this timer. I needed the timer to go off. And of course, again, your iPhone does that. But So that's what I did. I would pretend like I got to do this and this time, or like when you're talking about time management, like you were at the beginning, Nakia, if you get a timer and you say that there's a gun that's going to go off if I don't do this in this amount of time, if I don't do all my emails in 18 minutes, or you just have a false deadline and you just pretend like that. So that's what I did. Okay, so after a while, then I got to thinking, what if, maybe I could just say, I'm going to write something every day for 18 minutes. And I'll go into a little room, and I'll bring my yellow-lined legal pad, and I'm just going to jot down whatever comes to my head, or just words, and just try to be creative. Because after you get on a roll in real estate where, you're having fun, you're making money and stuff, but still something's missing, or you feel like you said earlier in your intro, that you want to do something creative, but you don't have the time, but you got to make the time. And so I did that, deadline thing in my head. There's a guy that's going to shoot me if I don't do this and give it all my best in 18 minutes. So I started writing down, just the thoughts that came to my head. And then one day I was at a client's house, and she said, "Hey, why aren't you taking notes?" And I said, "Oh my God, I forgot my yellow pad. I left it at a Starbucks." So I raced back to Starbucks, and I said, "Hey, the barista there, hey, have you did anybody, turn in, legal pad?" And she said, "Oh yeah, it's right here." And she said, "I didn't know you were a songwriter." And I said, "Songwriter?" Excuse me. She said, "Oh yeah," because what I was doing, like if I couldn't think of, something new to write, I would just repeat. And she interpreted that as like a chorus, I think. So, so she said, "I have a friend who plays guitar who could probably sing this song here." And I said, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah." So that's kind of how it started. That is how it started. And then after that, I kind of got into this of sending off songs to people who could play piano to it. I would sing into, badly into a digital recorder and send it so they would have an idea of how to play the piano to the words that I was, hearing. And that's how it all. And if you want to hear go ahead and play either one of the songs. That's exactly how these songs were written.
All right, well, we're going to jump into Quarantine. You want to talk about that just a little before we play it?
Yeah, I wrote it after I wrote the Hang Shakespeare book. I was in quarantine, and so I was thinking about how people, especially with Trump, everybody bickers, and I don't particularly care for Mr. Trump. I just think that, maybe with this, Biden and Kamala, we can get together as like a group more and everybody help each other out, kind of like how it was with Barack Obama. And so that's kind of how I was thinking that.
All right, well, here it is, Quarantine. Guys, I hope you enjoy it.
Well, I just turned 17, and I tried out for the football team. I hated a hell weekend, 2 days. First scrimmage, we got blown away. The ride home, guys goofing off, and we stopped and had to get out. The coach, he yelled at all of us and made us push that yellow bus. When birds of a feather, they flock together. Together they can fly so high. Snow sticks together, it don't even matter that a single snowflake is light. The birds of a feather, they flock together, takes hard work and sacrifice. You'll always remember this time forever, one day you'll look back and smile, yeah. The bus, it weighed at least a ton, after practice it had to get done. It took all of us and all you got, togetherness is what it taught. We won big, game after game, and I made it to the championship. Ball sailed wild, 2 seconds left, man, we took a knee and we cried. When birds of a feather, they flock together, takes hard work and sacrifice. You'll always remember this time forever, one day you look back and smile, yeah. Some folks play for just a ring, because winning means everything. In life you can win every game you play. Trophies gather dust, but your memories remain. Some folks play for just a ring, but the journey means everything. In life you can win every game you play. You'll feel more grateful with a little pain. So I'm at home, self-quarantine. God, I hate this COVID-19. I hate that money's getting lean. My stomach growls, I'm hungry. The drive-thru is a windy place where I see an American flag waving, God bless the USA. In my heart I hear my old coach say, when birds of a feather, they flock together. Together we can fly so high. When snow sticks together, it don't even matter that a single snowflake is light. When birds of a feather, they flock together, takes hard work and sacrifice. You'll always remember this time forever, one day you look back and smile. You will smile, we will smile, you will smile, we will smile, you will smile. We will smile, you will smile. We will smile, you will smile.
Hey now, what's good? It's your girl, Jana Blackwell, C-Town Records, Mistress of Soul. And you're on the air with the hottest independent station, Endie Fiya, with your host, Nakia, giving you that heat right here on the station, bringing you all of the hottest hip-hop hits, Endie Fiya.
Ooh, if you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Endie Fiya with your girl, Nakia, and my very, very special guest, author and songwriter, Robert Boog. Am I saying your last name right? We almost done with the show, and I just realized. All right, cool. Nope. Look, guys, you just heard Quarantine. Now, I know that you said you wrote the song. Is that you singing?
No. My wife is completely correct. I can't carry a tune in a wheelbarrow.
All right.
Yeah.
I was about to say, you need to take that first half of the first sentence and take it out because you sound phenomenal. Whoever that is sounds a little like Michael McDonald. And I love the Michael McDonald. I love the song, though. You wrote the song.
Yeah. A guy named Justin Moore sings it. And then Kid Dream sings the chorus.
Okay. All right, so I know Kid Dreams. I know his name from another song. I want to get into that as well. You want to talk about Kobe and how you came about writing that?
Well, I live here in Los Angeles, and, you know, like everybody else, I was, like, affected by his tragic passing. So I wrote the song, and then I kind of, like, I put it away, actually. I couldn't. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But, I don't know. Half of it is I didn't think it was that good. And then the other half said that, I don't know, I wasn't ready, I guess, emotionally, maybe. I'm not sure. But then I think I woke up one morning and I was thinking to myself, why don't I just send it out there and to Kid and see if he can sing it without. He sang it a cappella without any beat behind it, And when I heard that, I got teary-eyed. So I figured, okay, well, I think this will work. I mean, I think the emotion is there, or like my feelings are there. So that's what we did.
And I think this will probably be the first song that I've heard. At the time, so many creatives were using, and I want to say using his death, but they used his death to express their creative side, whether it be making sneakers, whether it be, T-shirts, wristbands, music. And I had a lot of, artists say, hey, I have this Kobe song. I want you to play it. And I thought to myself, no, for my own personal reasons at the time, I didn't want to hear any. And I knew that everything was going to be positive. I knew that. But I just didn't want to hear, anything at the time. And so I think we received Kobe before we received Quarantine. And it took me a while. I haven't listened to the song. I try not to listen to music until I guest hear it, so we're all, like, shocked and surprised and love it all at one time. But for some reason, I thought Japanese, the word Kobe, Japanese, that's what I thought. Okay, this is going to be different, And then my assistant says, you know what, I don't think that's what he's talking about. I have a daughter who's in college, and she's studying Japanese, and so everything this summer was Japanese, and that's the first thing that came to my head. And so my assistant said, no, Nakia, I don't think he's talking about, the Japanese word. And I was like, well, what other word? Oh, man, yeah, I feel stupid now, because it clicked later, and then all of those emotions just came flooding back, and then to hear you just say what you said. So, guys, we're going to give you Kobe, all right? Let's see how you feel afterwards, all right? Hope you enjoy.
May their spirits be blessed. He loved the life he
Wow. Now I'm all emotional. The hook was fire. Oh, my gosh. He sounds like an artist that I know. Mello makes music. He's out of, wow, I don't know where he is now. But, yeah, he sounds just like him. So shout out to you, Mello makes music. And shout out to Kid Dreams from Illinois. He was, that's just him alone. He was rapping and singing.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to have him on the show. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he is great.
I like that. You poured a lot of emotions into writing that, and I think that he was able to express them. I think that he was able to express them the way that they need to be expressed. Very heartfelt. Very heartfelt.
Yeah, it's like he took like words on a paper and brought feeling to them. You know, it's hard to explain, but he did such a great job.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. When it first started playing, I thought, wait a minute, I have heard this before. But no, I hadn't. It was just an odd feeling. I thought, yeah, I know this, but nah. So what's next for you?
Oh, I'm thinking
more
about
books,
writing some
more
short
music?
stories. Yeah, well,
okay.
My wife, okay, yeah, usually I will write a song after I finish like doing something big. It kind of like I don't know. It relaxes me kind of, and my wife plays reggaeton every morning, so she's on me to write. She wants me to write a reggaeton song, and I have an idea for that. So I don't know. I might do it. I just rhyming in Spanish is kind of weird, but I'd like to try it. I think that sounds like it's a challenge kind of thing. So I don't know. I'll probably do something like that. And then I was just somebody else told me that I should. Okay, so I was drinking and telling stories, and these people were laughing so hard they were crying, and this lady was telling me, you really have to write these down in like short stories just about your childhood because you're killing me. And so I thought, well, maybe she's right. Maybe I should. But I don't know. I'll just.
I told you.
I'd like to just.
You need to add comedian. If they thought things were funny that you were saying, you need to add comedian. To one of your titles. Because you're funny. You're very funny. Your bio is full of humor, and from what I read in the book, like I said, it's so relatable. It sounds like you're talking directly to me. We're holding a conversation. It's when I wasn't in thought, trying to think like, oh my goodness, wow, I never thought of that before. I was laughing. So yeah, you need to definitely add comedians.
Okay.
And I would, if you write the song or whatever you have next that you put out, we definitely want to get it on the show so that we can get it in rotation. On Mondays, we have New Music Mondays. All new music we play, and then we'll spotlight the music for a month. So we would definitely love to have, whatever you do next on the show. But we're down to the wire here. I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to get all of your social media and contact information out. For those who may be interested in working with you, for those who would like to purchase Hang Shakespeare, for those who want to purchase your music, for those who just want to get in contact with you, I don't know, to pick your brain and, get some advice from you about being an author or being a songwriter, the floor is now yours to get all of that information out.
Well, you can reach me on my website is just robertboog.com. So Robert, and my last name is Boog, B like boy, O-O-G like George.com. That's probably the best. Some of my songs, I have a website called iSongs. It's the letter, I and a hyphen, SONGZ. And I think there you'll find, I think the video of the very first song, the one with that barista that I was telling you about, that one is on, because I made a video of that. And I think it's called Gift of Love. So people sometimes ask me about that. So you can go on there, and like you said, you can go to Spotify. And I'm kind of bad about social media. It's just that I don't know. I pop in and out of it. I'm not like a junkie or a stalker. I'm just like a shadow. I'm kind of like I'm like the I don't know. Just it's fun, but then I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe I should be doing like something creative, like writing kind of thing.
Right.
So
it's time consuming. And it seems like for me now, like for someone who's up there all day, because as I mentioned, I have multiple businesses, I have the show, so I'm always doing promotions, but that's so time consuming now. When you work all day and you get off and you're tired, you don't want to even do that, So I spend the weekends trying to schedule all of my promotions and posts that need to go out for the week. I do those on the weekends since I'm off. And that seems to have balanced things out for me. I still don't spend a lot of time on social media anymore because, again, I'm just too tired. Just can't do it. But it does. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy when you can be doing other things, other constructive, and creative things. So I get it. I agree with you there.
Well, thanks for having me on your show. Thank you.
You are so very welcome. I wanted to give you the time to completely finish because I know I jumped in last of what you were discussing.
No.
Guys, make sure that you are right back here on Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Monday Motivation with Casso Moore, our in-house motivational speaker and MS activist. He's dropping some gems this month. We're on the session Doors, or the series Doors. And he's just, I'm so glad that we were able to just find him and give him this platform to be able to use the I in Endie, which is inspiration. And he truly does inspire everyone with the messages that he brings every Monday morning right here, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Casso Moore on My Struggle Is My Strength. And then, no promises on No Music Mondays because I said we'd be back in September, but we will be back on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know the artist name. The manager's been working with us, so just come back. All right, just come back. That's all you got to do. Thank you again to my very special guest this evening, Mr. Robert Boog. Make sure that you go and check out Hang Shakespeare. It's on Amazon and Google Books, right?
Yes.
Any place else?
Yes. It's coming out to everywhere else this weekend. I mean, Barnes & Noble and the rest of them are just a little bit slower, so it should be on not all the rest of the channels this weekend. But,
wow.
hopefully.
Talk about, yes, guys, so make sure that you're the other avenues that you'll be able to purchase and read the book. And then he also mentioned that the Audible is coming soon? Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, it's being mastered right now, so it should be out of the oven like just in a few days.
So you have no reason. You can't be like me, I don't have time to read because I can finish, if someone's speaking to me, if they're talking to me, I can finish a book in no time that way, all right? So one way or the other, guys, make sure that you do purchase that book and support this phenomenal author and songwriter. Thank you again so much for being here with me this evening. You stay safe in L.A. And like I told all of my guests, once you're on the show, you are a part of the family. You are welcome back at any time. All right?
Okay, sounds great.
All right, guys, you enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you Monday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend.